time, I believed books were meant to be a sanctuary, a cozy space to escape and unwind. That is until I discovered literature that does the exact opposite. Books that perform an autopsy on the human soul, touching on unsettling ethics, politics, and the darker shades of our morality. And I think that's a valid use of art. Literature should raise questions and make us uncomfortable. But dark romance, the genre, and particularly a sort of set of content out of books produced under this banner are just not fitting in either of these sections of literature. These books seem to touch upon unsettling and morally gray topics, but instead of exploring them as a certain kind of literature would do, they turn it into a form of entertainment, which is quite problematic. Now, as a writer, I try to keep an open mind in terms of what's being written, what's being read, like you do you. Every corner of human experience, I think, is worth exploring, as I just said. But I keep seeing readers of this kind of content under dark romance, they keep coming with this argument, the same few arguments to sort of defend this genre, defend reading and consuming this content, particular content under this genre. And frankly, the math isn't adding up. I want to take these few arguments, I want to break them down, and I want to look if any of these arguments that I come across actually truly justify consuming problematic content under the guise of dark romance. And as I'll get ahead, I'll also sort of clear out the sort of difference between like a good dark romance that I can sort of be fine with, and dark romance that should actually be off the shelf. The first argument is just a dark exploration of taboo topics. Now, defenders claim this genre is simply like a brave exploration of like human trauma, gray areas, taboo themes. But one has to ask, like, how much truly troubling content can you pack into a book under the guise of exploring it? It's like a scientist saying, well, a scientist doing unethical experiments and then just hand waving and saying, oh, it's just for science. Like, dark romance should be exploration of obsession, toxicity, unhinged love, basically whatever you think comes to your mind when you think of like dark romance. But there's a catch. It works only if both parties are equally toxic. Like, two psychopaths falling in love is fine. Like, you can make this argument that they are made for each other, and us normal people, we are fine letting the two be together. Like, not any one of us wants to be with any of these, so they're best fit for each other. But the kind of dark romance that a lot of sort of books write about that's being written under this very argument of exploring dark taboos is straight up assault disguised as spite and spice and smut. Like, in these books, women are almost exclusively victims. They aren't the toxic sort of partners that I said is fine, like if both parties are toxic. No, these women are just normal people, normal women that are being hunted down by psychopaths. And we need to draw a hard line between exploring dark topics and romanticizing it. Argument number 2. It's empowering because it represents female agency. It's a very weird argument because it comes from the fact that this genre heavily features female POV. Like the FMC, the female main characters have their own POV. It's most of the time written by women and mostly consumed by women, which is concerning in and of itself. Now, people, because of this very thing, slap the empowering label on it, and they'll just say, oh, well, because all of this, it's empowering. But there's a tactical error here. Just because content is sort of created for a specific community by a specific community doesn't make it empowering. Propaganda always is fed directly to a targeted community, but its goal isn't often to empower them, it's to rewire them into thinking a certain way. Think of any other minority community promoting content that is clearly troubling to their very community and then framing it as completely fine. Like, that would make no sense. Placing these dark romance books under the curtain of female empowerment makes them highly dangerous propaganda. It manipulates women into believing that a handsome man violating their privacy is the ultimate romantic gesture. True female agency in these stories would be the FMC filing a restraining order on the stalker MMC, or fighting against him, protecting herself. Like, that would be true female agency, instead of the female main character acting as a complete doormat against the male main character's abuse. Argument number 3. It's just fiction, fantasy. The argument that this is like, oh, it's just fiction, it's fantasy, like, it's fine, it's not like we're like letting it be in real life, like, it's just fiction, it's just words on paper, no need to get so angry, but it's just entertainment. But there is a massive ethical difference between an isolated involuntary intrusive thought that you have and a commercial industry based on that very thought that packages real world trauma into commercial happily ever after. Some fiction, fantasy, some imaginations that you have in mind should stay within your mind. The moment you take that dark fantasy in your mind, drag it into a commercial market and label it as romance, label it as entertainment, you normalize the behavior. You're telling a vulnerable audience that this is an acceptable form of devotion. Real living women have survived the very things that these people are using for spice, which honestly is truly concerning, and I just can't bring myself to believe that people consume it, write it, and promote it. Argument number 4. I am a responsible adult. I won't fall for it. I'm only reading it as entertainment. This is such an intellectual shield. Like, I'm an adult. Being an adult ultimately makes me immune to nonsense on the page. But let's be real. Like, no one's feeding high-level propaganda to children. Like, no one's doing that. Adults are and have always been, will continue to be the primary targets for manipulation. To say you're safe for narrative rewiring because you're an adult is a weak defense. Just look around yourself. On a daily basis, adults are falling for scams, fake news, manipulative political tactics. Like, what makes you think that these very adults are suddenly completely immune to the toxic messaging and behavioral patterns that these dark romance books are actually promoting? Passive exposure normalizes extreme behavior until a crime becomes just a vibe. Argument number 5, the last argument. Just because I read it does not mean I condone it in real life. This argument boils my blood because it's one of the weakest arguments I have ever come across. Additionally, it's not even an argument. It's just a psychological defense mechanism used to relieve yourself of responsibility and accountability. Saying this is pretty much same to saying, like, just because I consume blatantly racist entertainment doesn't mean I support racism in real life. Like, we would never accept that as an argument at all. Like, we would call out a person for consuming racist content, say that's problematic. We'll call them out. We'll, put them out in the open and question them for their behavior. But that's not the same case for this kind of dark romance. Even if you don't support the content, the actions that these content promote in your day-to-day life, consuming and financially supporting forms of entertainment that do promote abuse, toxicity, assault, all of that, and glamorize all of that is just as damaging as turning an eye to real life scenarios of these cases. Your engagement is feeding the pipeline. Now, as you can see, none of these arguments stood up, and that unfortunately is the brutal reality of a lot of these dark romance. As a fiction writer, I just need to be clear that fiction is free to explore the shadows, but in case of a lot of this dark romance, in the dark romance genre, there is a little bit of sort of change that's needed. If an author shows the consequence, the tragic consequence of being loved by a psychopath, being loved by a complete monster, then they create a warning. Just like how you would consume a true crime documentary on an assault and realize that there was consequence of all of this. If something similar happens in a lot of these books, then it creates a clear warning that if you are under the radar of some psychopath, some stalker, that there will be bad consequences. But if these authors sort of rewrite them as a happily ever after, she had a stalker but now she's completely fine, she is in love with, that creates a problem, and that creates a simulation that rewires our empathy, that makes us believe that something problematic is completely fine or can be fine in certain scenarios. Now, we need to stop reading passively. We need to stop reading these books passively and start reading critically and engage with them in a very heightened mental defense. We need to be very clear about what is coming to us and how we take it in to avoid being rewired by this kind of content in case you do want to read it. Other than that, I think a better option would be not engage with such content. And I'm not talking about the dark romance genre as overall. I'm specifically talking about these particular kind of books that are being written under the banner of dark romance, but honestly are a little too dark for even dark romance. Do not engage with these books. Do not promote these. Stop talking about these crimes that are written in these books as soon. I hope you like this video, this sort of clear view that I gave you of this entire thing that's at play. If there are other defenses or arguments that you think should have been here or could have been here, or you think have come across and you think are equally as weak as the arguments that I pointed out here, do drop them in the comments below with your own analysis as to why you think these arguments are weak. The points we dissected today, actually, I have come across them in my sort of analysis of this entire genre once I actually came across it the first time. All of these have come from the reviews that I have read and the online discussion relating to these books that I have come across. Personally, I haven't read any dark romance books. The entire sort of arguments that I talked about today, entire points that I talked about, the problems that I talked about this industry, I've come across them through reviews, very helpful reviews. Unfortunately, it's weird for me to call out spoiler heavy reviews as helpful reviews, but in a lot of reviews under these books, there are clear spoilers, which kind of give insight to what the content of these books are without me actually having to read it. And that was really helpful in, making me aware of what kind of genre this entire thing is, or what kind of things that are being promoted under this genre. So yeah, I am not going to read any of these books, and the problematic architecture of these kind of stories is not the only reason. There are other kinds of reasons that why this kind of genre, the stories written in this genre, might not be my cup of tea. My shelf will remain strictly for stories that actually challenge my mind, make me think, make me work, instead of, the ones that compromise my consciousness. Now, wherever you are in the world, I wish you a good day ahead or a restful night. I'll see you in the next audit. Until then, keep theorizing.